Yes, you are now listening to the sounds of Sports Reports is Ordered. And wouldn't you know, it happens to be Thursday, so that means the NBA Finals are officially underway. So put on your jerseys, hang up your posters, do your stand thing. You know what I'm saying? We got you on the first half coverage, and we're going to sprinkle in some other sports talk. And when I say we, what do I mean? I mean the Even Kill.
You're
born in Texas, VA
You're
bred, New Jersey's own, representing Teaneck, Millville, Camden, Trenton, everything in between, down to the shore, and including the turnpike. And they got good cheesesteaks and pizza too. He is Mr. Logical.
the best cheesesteak and the best pizza.
And do
New
me a
Jersey.
favor. Like, review, subscribe, share it. Don't bring feelings to a fat fight.
Not even a little bit, yo. We ain't got time for it.
And then we got the Southpaw, going left as always, unorthodox styles, hitting you over the head with some gems every now and again, whether you want it or not. I am 2-5, and we gonna hop right to it. So we both picked Boston in 6.
Correct.
So what I'm looking for tonight in game 1, I'm looking for not necessarily Jason Tatum to assert himself to the tune of scoring, say, 35 points. But I don't want to walk away from this game questioning him. I just got off Cups in the Gang, a.k.a. the Hot Box. And I was talking to Adam, of course, L-A-R-way Adam. And he keeps talking about like how we got to let Tatum grow, all this kind of stuff. Like, you know, people like Jordan and LeBron didn't win their titles until year 7 or so. You know, they're 28 or so. He didn't necessarily say this statement. This is me ad-libbing, but I'm done with it. You know, saying you've been to the finals before. You've been in the conference finals your whole career. This is it. You know what I'm saying? You got to win this series. Like, no excuses, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Win the series.
Yeah, I would say win the series because you have the better team.
Well, that too.
Not because you just got to win it because you've been in the league long enough. I think this is the year that he actually has the team that should win.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people are picking them to win. I think a lot of the fan base kind of riding with Dallas, which I get, but I don't really think that there's a timeline where a guy should be winning because they've been in the league this many years. Because like Dirk didn't win until his 13th season, but people still have him great top 10, so forth and so on. I just think this expectation of a guy has to win a championship, I think it's unrealistic unless you see them on the team that has the pieces to win.
But see, for me, it's not about that per se. It's more so, you know, you guys, you know, what is it, 6 out of 8 years that you've made the conference finals and you had the 1 year in the finals too. So it's not necessarily you've been in the league this long, so therefore it's your time. It's more so you've been on the doorstep, finish it. Unfinished business.
But the doorstep still, you can throw that same thing on Luka. Luka was in the Western Conference Finals a few years back and then didn't make the playoffs the following year. I think it all depends on the team around you. I would leverage the expectation that they win the championship this year based off the fact that I think their regular season, the 82 games, they won 64 of them. Mm-hmm. So that puts you in this rarefied air of teams that
50-point wins.
50-point wins. Average margin of victory was like 11.5, which puts them like 4th all time. And as far as like champion, like if they were to win the championship, they'd have the 4th highest points per game win advantage
differential or whatever. Yeah,
differential. Yeah. So for that reason, I would say yeah. But if he had like if he was on a team that like, okay, so Boston was kind of fortunate because they have the injuries on the other teams, which kind of made their path a little smoother. Mm-hmm. If he was on a team that shouldn't have won their round, like Indiana against the Knicks, if the Knicks are 85% healthy, 90%, and they only lose 1 or 2 guys, I don't think Indiana beats the Knicks.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
But if Indiana came into the series with Boston, and then Tatum missed 2 games with a rolled ankle, and then Jaylen Brown missed 3 because of a back, and then they made it to the finals, I wouldn't be like, yo, this is Halliburton's year. He's got to make it. Because it's like, you got to look at the circumstances that got them there. This year, Tatum, I don't think it's like win or go home, but this year you got to win it. But this year, you definitely have the team to win it. You're not in a position where you're not, I don't think they're at a disadvantage at any position on the court. I think they have leverage probably at every position other than Luka being like this all-world player. Luka is just so all-world. I think I don't know if he really has a category. I think he is just the guy, but I don't think there's another guy on the team where a Boston player doesn't wash that out. And I think there's a few players where they just completely just overwhelm them. Like Horford versus Derrick Jones Jr. I think you're going to get more out of Horford than you're going to get out of him. You know what I mean? So, but like Luka could go for 40, and I don't think, but the way he plays makes it viable that he does go for 40. But Jason Tatum, these guys are at home. Get the role players in. Porzingis just checked in the game right before the TV timeout.
Yeah, I want Jason Tatum to go for 40 if I'm Dallas. I want that, because that means that. No, I think of him like not necessarily like Jokic, because I know we talked about that where if like last year in the finals, Jokic had the 40-point game, but he only had 3 or 4 assists, so that was the one game that Miami won in that series.
I don't want Luka to go for 40.
I don't think about it on that level. I want both of them to go for 40. If I'm the opposite team, like if I'm Boston, I want Luka to go for 40. If I'm Dallas, I want Tatum to go for 40.
I think if Tatum's going for 40, that means the other players are going to be even more comfortable to fire off. Luka players rely on him. That's why it worked with Denver. Not necessarily worked, but the fact that Jokic went for like 40 points and only 3 assists is because everything kind of runs through Luka. Tatum is part of the like a cog in the machine. Granted, he's an important one, but if he's 40, he's hot, and that means Derek White's going to get open looks because you got to blitz him because you can't just keep letting him shoot because he has the talent that can get you 40, 50 points. He has his shot. He has the free throw. Like he can do so many things offensively that Dallas would have to adjust. They can't be like, you know what? We're going to let him do his thing. We're going to stay glued to everybody else because the way Boston shoots the ball. So I think it would get more open looks for these other Boston players.
And that's why I brought up the other
40,
day.
You can stay glued to everybody else and let Luka get his 40.
And that's why I brought up the other night, the whole Lou Dort conundrum, XYZ, my thought process behind that. Can I hold him to 11 for 30? Yeah, you're still getting your points, but you're not efficient. You're not involving everybody else. Nobody else is really touching the ball. Or can I turn this into, I don't know if I necessarily want to do this, but can I turn this into a you and Kyrie take turns? Like this was your 4 minutes right here. Now it's my turn to go off for 2 minutes or so on and so forth, because that way PJ Washington is standing in the corner, not touching the ball. Derrick Jones isn't getting touches. Was Lively and Gafford are relying on either alley-oops or, but they're not involved, and like right now we're seeing it. Boston's moving the ball. They're swinging it around and they're getting good.
They've already taken 9 threes.
Right. And they're up 2 right now by my count. And, to whereas when I'm looking at Dallas, I'm seeing a whole lot of Kyrie and Luka right now. Like, and this is the problem is that when you're a team like Dallas, I feel that you have to get your others involved early. Like PJ Washington needs 2 to 3 shots in the first 5 minutes of this game. Derrick Jones, even if he doesn't shoot it, he just needs to have the ball in his hand for, 6 seconds out of every few possessions, just to be engaged, just to be involved.
I know my head's not moving. I mean, but I'm listening. I'm just watching the sequence because I was like, I noticed a couple of things I want to just kind of bring up.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Luka just made some incredibly difficult shot just now. Didn't get the foul calls, upset. Boston's already shot 10 threes. I think they're 3 for 10 from 3. But it looks like defensively, they're using the guy guarding Derrick Jones Jr. as like the extra defender that's watching Luka,
Right.
and then collapsing on him when he gets the ball, or like giving him the open three, but he was just around the hoop, and they just collapse on him because he's not crafty around the hoop unless he's dunking. I'm gonna see if they do it again. If he's still on the floor, I'm gonna see if they do it again.
Right,
but
and
they just
obviously
put
that would be
Hauser in.
something that Jason Kidd will have to adjust to.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
let's see if he's still on the floor. He's not on the floor, so we'll see what they do.
yeah.
Maybe that dude Green, because that dude Green's been kind of.
Looks like looks like
I'm at 5:23 in the
I thought
first.
that I'm at 5:24. Porzingis still taking his second free throw on my screen.
Okay.
All right, so that's why I was trying to see if that's Hardy on the floor.
Yeah, Hardy's on the floor.
Okay, yeah,
Green,
that's Hardy with the ball right now.
Yeah.
So these are the minutes that are going to count. What can Dallas stay in the game with these lineups? Like, or is Luka going to have to be Superman? That's the question, because now you may enter that territory where he's trying to do so much early that later in the game, you start affecting his legs, or and I know, with you like to point out they're young, you know what I mean? They should be all right. But but like I was bringing up with Anthony Edwards in the last series, he is young, but this is the first time that Anthony Edwards had that type of that usage, I guess, and playing defense in that way.
I don't think they made the adjustments offensively that got Minnesota easy points, which made him have to press on Dallas's offensive players even more.
Right. See, and this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. This shot that PJ Washington just took over Porzingis, I know he was probably trying to draw a foul or whatever, but that's what you don't want PJ Washington doing. Like PJ Washington should take a page out of the PJ Tucker book, for the time being.
Stand in the corner.
Stand in the corner, do your thing. Like,
opportunity.
Get Porzingis to the basket. Get him there. Get him in the air. Make that pass to your big that's trailing. And get your big some easy buckets early. To whereas, like, I don't think Lively and Gafford are going to slack defensively per se.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But sometimes, if I'm not touching the ball on offense, I'm
not in my groove. Yeah.
Right. I'm not in my groove. I'm not myself right now until that happens. And you can't, and we're already, a third of the way through the quarter. You know what I mean? And Luka's just out here firing.
It's been very Luka-centric. And I think you can look at it like, okay, well, Luka gets on, he's hot, and then we can get these other guys going in the second quarter. But it can also be a danger where
Jaylen Brown shacked in a fool.
You could get like Derek White, he gets a few that drop, and now he's hot. But Boston has 4 turnovers so far. I think they're like
Dallas
4
only
for
2.
3.
Yep. See, here comes more Luka. There's the pass. Josh Green, pull up. Nope. And see, and that's where you got to finish. You can't just try to float it out from 14 feet or whatever. You got to go all the way to the basket. Because Boston's a deep team. So any opportunity you have to get a foul against them, you need to take it.
Yeah, but what's it called? Dallas.
Look at this. What are they doing?
They're a team of ultimate just role players.
Right.
Like they got their 2 stars out of Ferraris, and then they have a lot of like utility pickup truck and Jeep
all right,
guys.
So Kyrie's back in. Drew Holiday's coming back in now. And that's my move. Even if I don't have Drew Holiday guarding Kyrie all the time,
just put him back in the game.
When Kyrie's out the game, come over here and get a breather real quick. Because I'm going to need you. So whenever Kyrie's on the floor, you're on the floor, even if you're not his direct defender sometimes. So here's Porzingis. So far, so good, as far as movement. He doesn't look like he's hesitating, and there's a dunk. So he doesn't look like he's hesitating or that he's playing gimpy or he's in his head right now. So, that's a good sign. 2 for 3 so far, 6 points early. So that's got to be confidence boosting. And that's only going to help Boston. And here they are challenging Porzingis again, but not being smart about how they're challenging him.
It's hard to challenge a guy that's 7'3".
They're just out of control right now. Like, it looks like Dallas doesn't have a game plan outside of somebody's got to take shots. That's what their
Yeah,
game plan looks like.
Porzingis just Draymond. Oh boy, ironically, he Draymond a dude named Green.
Yeah. And
He
we
just
got
hit it right.
Boston up. We got Boston up 10, 2:20 left in the first quarter. So speaking of Draymond Green, I saw him talking about Angel, or not Angel Reese, Kennedy Carter, saying, I feel you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not answering the questions about Caitlin. I'm with you right there. You handled that the right way. First of all, I don't know if Draymond's the person that you want co-signing
Yeah, you
your
definitely don't want to
decisions.
get press conference advice from. You could get media advice, the podcast. He's great on TNT. I foresee him getting one of those NBC jobs that the NBA has an 11-year, $76 billion deal. I can see him sliding in there and playing a role there. But yeah, the press conference Draymond, you don't want press conference
Yeah,
Draymond.
you don't want that Draymond, you know what I mean? And I'm all for and I know we talked about this a little bit the other night, but I'm all for the way Kennedy handled that from the standpoint of, are you going to own that? And from what we know about her past, stories that we've heard about her having conflict in the past, she's not going to shy away from the attitude that she took the other day. So I'm fine with that as long as you own it and don't complain and cry when, and I don't mean that just because she's a woman, but when the negative coverage comes your way.
If you're gonna do the Dylan Brooks, don't
own it.
Own it. If you're gonna come in the arena dressed like Stone Cold Steve Austin, don't ride here acting like Stephanie McMahon when it gets tough. I mean, own it. And honestly, like I said, as long as it's authentic, it's within the confines. Because I'm like, I tell, if I'm playing a basketball game, or if I'm telling my son to play a game, I'm like, listen, if you're driving the ball, create contact on your way to the hoop.
Right.
Like it's, even though they call fouls, basketball still is a contact sport. It might be a situation where we talked about this before with Patrick Ewing in the national championship game. John Thompson was like, yo, take everything. And he gave him like 10 or 12 points because he just wanted to show them, like, hey, this is how high my center can jump. You're not getting any
Come
easy
in
basket.
here and deal with Mount Pat.
Yeah, so it's like there's different ways to kind of assert yourself and get people out of the game, because we've seen it happen. Like we talked about Luka game 1 against OKC. He was complaining to the refs the whole time. Game 2, he had a smile on his face. I think he dropped like 30 something. It looked very fluid. OKC was pretty much never in the game because his attitude was more in line with like, okay, let me be me. If that's how she gonna play ball, just play ball. Just understand that because you've already kind of generated this narrative surrounding you, and then bringing up whatever happened in the past, we never know what sparked whatever fight, whatever teammate, whatever conversation. Because I know it's a lot of people that we deal with in life that deserve to get cussed out on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
It might be some groups of people, might be some people that are your supervisors or leadership or wherever you work. You might need to cuss them out. You might want to slap somebody. I'm not going to act like I never been there. I've been there. So we never know what the reason is for why she went to the lengths that she went to. Mm-hmm. But whatever it was, she made amends because she's back in the league. Like she did something so detrimental that she couldn't play professionally anymore. So
right.
With that being said, it's like, yo, shorty, you gonna get that. I don't know about people running up on her. Like
right.
Caitlin Clark listen, I tell people all the time. Let's talk about this. I saw a video of a Saints fan fight a Falcons fan outside the stadium. I'm like, listen, Arthur Blank's not paying your bail money because you defend the Falcons.
Right.
What if you get your hands kicked?
And that's why I like, going back to the whole, conundrum that league is facing. This is kind of where I am. Everybody's talking about how Caitlin's drawing the attention, right? And absolutely, she's the supernova that has come through. The spark. You had a spark when you started, right? And then, but right now, you got 2-time back-to-back champion, Asia Wilson right now, averaging 28 and 12 with 3 assists and 3 steals. Nothing. You got the Connecticut Sun, undefeated, only undefeated team in the league right now. And guess what? The Aces aren't even in first place in the West. That's the Minnesota Lynx. So on a day like today, I get where, the Lakers have reached out to Danny Hurley. I get that that's a big story. I get he's the back-to-back national champion at Utah. Holy crap, are they going to get him Jason Tatum and Porzingis back-to-back threes.
Okay,
Boston's
so
up
we in
14.
line. Then I'm at 1 minute right now.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. And this
Got
is
the
what I was
block.
talking. Oh, the block. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is or the other day. This is what I
Don't
was
let
talking
Hauser
about.
knock this one down.
I
Oh
know, right?
no.
Oh,
I was
oh.
telling you. That's what I was telling you the other day. When the role players see the star players getting that, they just he didn't even hesitate. That's the first three I've seen him hit the whole playoffs.
Well, this
And
is
I
what
watched a lot of Boston's games.
Well,
Now
this is what I
Pritchard
was
out there
talking about.
battling rebounding with a 6'10" guy.
And,
Look at this.
this is what I was talking about. Whereas, like for Dallas to win this series, and I know this is very early. It's the first quarter. I don't want to overreact.
And they got blown out by OKC.
Right,
so we're not
right.
gonna overreact.
I don't want to overreact. But this is what I kind of saw where I was saying, if Dallas wins games in this series, it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be out executing Boston. Jason Tatum taking dumb shots down the stretch. You know what I mean? Boston can blow you out. You know what I mean? Like Boston can bust your ass, for lack of better words. You know what I mean? But back to the WNBA for a second. But but the Minnesota Lynx are in first place right now. So a day like today, where we're talking about Danny Hurley, being a candidate for the Lakers and all this kind of stuff, I don't even know how serious it is from the standpoint of Danny Hurley being interested in the job. I've heard Monty Williams' name brought out there. He ain't even got fired yet. But these are the days where
he's not getting fired. You got to pay him out $56 million. He only coached for 2 years, and that's $72 million.
But these are the days where I understand that you're going to have Lakers segments, and you can still talk about the Lakers for 20 minutes at a time. Just give a 4-minute section over here to, hey, transitioning to on the court, whatever. And that's it. You can still talk about Caitlin if you need to, but just a 4-minute segment, because before you could argue 2-3 years ago, you could argue nobody's here for the WNBA. Whether it was true or not, it probably was true because nobody was talking about it. Nobody's here for it, XYZ, blah, 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 blah. So are we here for the WNBA or are we here for Caitlin? At some point, you got to talk about it to figure that out.
I think what people are going to come to realize is that it's more entertaining.
Definitely,
and more dynamic than we had previously expected.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what people are going to kind of wrap their heads around. Like, yo, this is all right. Like, these women are balling. The personalities are legit. I think people are going to kind of recognize that this is an entertaining aspect of sport. Where before, because if you think about, and I think the NCAA women's game, it helps that out because, like I said, we all remember the WNBA players when they were in college. We remember Tennessee to UConn matchups. We remember, Don Staley. We remember, like, even if you go to like even women's soccer, like, so people have watched women's sports. I just think that when the argument or the conversation about equal pay and everything else, that's when people started kind of dividing, like, now, like, oh, well, you only do this, you only do that. And I think it takes smart people saying smart things. Like, I use tennis as an example. Serena Williams, they asked her about playing like some of the top men. She was like, yo, the top men in our sport, like, serve the ball 130 miles an hour. Like, so even the guy that might be outside the top 100 is still serving the ball 125, 130 miles an hour. It's like, that's not our game as women. She's like, I win a lot of mine because I can serve faster than most of the other women, but I don't serve faster than most of the men. So and it's not that dismiss yourself, it's just the honest conversation. I think people just have really had an honest conversation about it.
So let me ask you a quick question before we move on. I saw this on X earlier, aka Twitter. Just a random person. This isn't a sports media person, just a random person having a conversation. Is it possible, and I know it's early, and I know that's what you're going to tell me, is it possible?
I will know it's something different.
Is it possible that Caitlin Clark is more JJ Redick than she is Steph Curry?
No.
Okay.
Well, obviously it's possible.
Okay.
And without saying too early, I just don't understand. I think what it came down to was that what she was doing in college, in Iowa, in those Big Ten games, not many women, even the women in the WNBA, weren't playing, handling the ball, shooting pull-up threes the way she was. She did have the ultimate green light, which is, that helps. But she had the
Right,
ultimate green
right,
light,
right.
and she was knocking it down. LeBron won state championships in high school, and he was one of the most dominant players in the league. And then in high school nationwide, Carmelo Anthony, they were all playing games, OKL games like that. And when he got to the league, he averaged like 21 points his first year. He struggled. And then eventually he got to the point where 27, 7, and 7 was just commonplace
It
for
was
him.
just normal, yeah.
It was just normal. So it takes a couple of years. We all talk about Kobe. Kobe's first few years, he couldn't even get the consistent run. And I know I'm talking about two greats, but we often think about like how their careers ended
Right.
and
Not
not really
realizing how it
recognizing like
began.
how
Yeah.
it began.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying she's gonna ascend to these, but there's no reason to believe that she can't, replicate what she did in college because she still has the ball handling skills. She
Mhm.
still can shoot the ball.
And she could
It
pass
just
the hell out the ball too.
she can pass the ball. She's a willing passer.
Mhm.
So she has basketball intangibles. She just has to work on the maturity and getting out of her own feelings and
Right.
just playing basketball. And then her teammates have to kind of rally around this idea, like, yo, we have the golden goose here in our locker room who's also talented. It wasn't like she's being like highly touted and had a mediocre career and she's just white and we want to use her as a great white height like they do with boxing sometimes. She's actually talented. She's proven it by being all-time leading scorer. Granted, it's under controversy, asterisks, but it's like she got to that point. She has more points. Yo, Hauser's on one.
Yeah, he
So,
is.
so
He
I
didn't even
think
catch that all the way. Hey,
that's
two
that's the
more quick
thing.
questions. Two more quick
Yeah.
questions, real quick. So one, if you're the WNBA, do you do the thing? Do you put Caitlyn in the All-Star game or whatever, or like, you know what I mean? Like, just because she has brought that notoriety to the league, even if she doesn't
If
necessarily.
if you do, I know like the NFL, I believe Major League Baseball does this. Like every team has to be represented. So maybe they create some kind of rookie versus sophomore game. I don't know if they have that kind of format. Maybe they just kind of take a page out of the NBA book and just find a way to highlight. Because we all remember the
And see,
highlight of
you see that, right? They promoting.
she's in the Gatorade commercial.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
Yeah,
was just talking about the game on Saturday. You know, they had that up on
yeah,
the screen. Yeah. But go ahead.
yeah. So it just we remember Kyrie when he crossed up Brevin Knight in that rookie versus sophomore game.
Yeah,
That's a good highlight.
oh,
I'm at 9:54. Am I missing something?
I was just talking about the Jaylen Brown dunk. That was I think you've passed me now. But no, like I mean, it was Brandon Knight, but I get your point.
Yeah.
But so my second question, real quick. If Caitlyn doesn't make an all-star game by next season, do you have faith that the WNBA can keep people interested enough otherwise to maintain what we're
I
building right now?
I think what she knows how to do and what she does well works.
Uh-huh.
She's a 3-point shooter. She might just have to just get a little stronger, a little tougher, a little smarter. Offensively, they might have to come up with better schemes to get her open, to get her these looks where she can do what she does. Because like Steph Curry is listed as a point guard, but I've never seen him have 11 to 12 assists in back-to-back games. I don't think that's ever happened.
Or she could be
But
Reggie Miller, I guess.
but
Indiana.
what he does for Golden State is he just gets open. He just listed as a point guard. So they just got to fix their scheme, and then she has to fix her resolve to ensure that she can handle those kind of moments.
Right.
It's not wrong. It's nothing wrong with struggling being new. Like my son's a freshman on the track team, and he was like somewhat upset that he didn't get more varsity around. Like, yo, you never ran track before. You never ran at this level before. You've played
Right.
football before, so you earned those positions that you played in football. football.
Right.
Basketball, you played basketball before, so you only 15, but you'll play with the 17U team because this is what you do. You just have to wait until or not wait, but just build up to get to that point. I think she just has to build up to where she gets to. But in the meantime, they got to go start making sure that they highlight other teams and coaches and women in their league. They have to, because it's going to fade, because the NBA is going away in 2 weeks. You got 17 days, 17 calendar days between game 1 and a potential game 7.
Yeah, so the All-Star game
football is going to take over the conversation. So over the next 2.5 weeks, you better start highlighting coast to coast, so people are talking about you at 1:00 in the morning on the East Coast and 10:00 at night on the West Coast, because you got Aces versus Lynx games on.
Right. So the WNBA All-Star game is on July 20th, and the playoffs start September 22nd. It's going to be a little later because of the Olympic break.
Okay.
You know, so
that what's so long?
So that's going to be the problem that they run into, because they're going to go right into NFL season, which we're about to go into.
Which in an NFL season is literally not taking a break.
Right. And so to the NFL, you know, we were kind of joking about this earlier, but you know, like, hey, Eagles and Packers, you have been warned, do not wear the color green when you hit Brazil. So I was going to ask you.
I'm pretty sure that means why they're out chilling.
Right.
But are they not doing any press events?
I don't know. But I was going to ask you, just for the fact that even has to be a conversation. And I'm sure we're over exaggerating it somewhat. Being that that's a conversation, what's some
why is the game in Brazil?
Why is the game in Brazil? Yeah, so now you're heading to my question. So where else do you think it would be beneficial for the NFL to have games to build their international goals? Like, what other places on the planet do you think could fill that up?
Europe, Vancouver, Toronto, London, Germany, Mexico City. That's it.
Nowhere in Asia?
No.
Okay.
First of all, they don't play football. They like basketball. Basketball has the faceless athlete does not survive in Asia. They have cricket. That's their world. That's their sport.
Yeah. Shout out to USA, by the way. Beat Pakistan in cricket today. You know,
a scandal's gonna come out.
Yeah. All right, but go ahead.
Scandal's gonna come out. Somebody made a lot of money off of it. A scandal's coming out. Give me 2 years for the documentary.
Lance Armstrong.
Yeah, it's coming out. Should you say USA beat Pakistan?
Porzingis. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, go ahead.
You got Vancouver, Toronto. You can play games there. London, not even all of England, just London. And near one of the military bases in Germany. So, like, not Berlin, because that's too far. Most of the military bases are in Southwest Germany and Sauerland. That's the state, like the Southwest state. Berlin is way at the top.
They had teams in Cologne and Rhein. You know,
they had teams in Cologne and Rhein, but that's near where like any Americans that are stationed there or any kind of American influence is kind of prominent. That's the area. You have musical influences, obviously, with America, but as far as like an American presence, Frankfurt, Dusseldorf, Cologne, one of these major soccer stadiums or football stadiums in that part of Sauerland, and I think that's it realistically because. I've been to Seoul, Korea.
Mm-hmm.
They're not football fans. You don't see like football jerseys. You see a lot of basketball jerseys.
Well, I was wondering if somewhere like Japan might be worth it to just give it a shot. Because I mean, like in business, you have to take risk, or you know, if you want to grow and do certain things, there's certain avenues you have to roll. So I'm not saying that they need to do an Asia tour, but you know, maybe Japan or China could. I know China's got the basketball thing.
China is they love basketball, so maybe that basketball and the American athlete, you get the football, but I mean, we had the Olympics, so you have that kind of influence, but I just don't know. They don't play the sport in their country at all. And they're not really even big into like soccer or anything. Like they play, there's baseball and there's a lot of individual sports and there's basketball.
So do you
I
think
don't
as
know if
far
you have
as
the fan base.
so,
I mean,
so
there's enough
do you
people.
think as far as South America, since obviously that's the continent that Brazil resides on, do you think Argentina would have been a better choice?
I
Or
don't
do you
think
think
anywhere in
South
South America
America?
is a good choice. I think
Okay,
it
so
was a
South
bad
America
choice
just out.
altogether. Just out.
Okay.
It's just
Okay.
out. It just out. Like it didn't make sense when I first heard it. And I get that every place you can highlight is like all crime ridden. Like I looked up 10 places in Jersey to avoid, and one of them was a city right outside the gate. Like so I get that, the perspective from outside without being there is like it's different. When somebody said something.
Yeah, I'm just Go
No.
ahead.
So I just think I'm not understanding. I don't understand what audience they're trying to pull in from Brazil as if the American audience isn't full on making budgets to make sure they pay for NFL, Sunday Ticket, Amazon, Peacock. We're already doing all this other stuff as fans. I have Paramount for one Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I paid for something else, Peacock. That's why I have Peacock for Super Bowl with the Bengals Rams Super Bowl. I paid for Peacock. I've been paying for Peacock for like 2 years. There's some good shows on. I think The Office is still on, and New Girl.
I
Some
watch
shows that I like.
WWE Network. That's the and SVU. That's all Peacock got for me.
And then I got
I might watch
Park,
Megan one of these days.
I watch reruns of Parks and Rec. You know what I mean? I rock with those shows. And
Yeah.
Paramount, I literally don't use at all.
I use
So it's
Paramount for March Madness.
and I use it for March Madness. But
Yeah.
so the American fan base is already billions of dollars invested into your product. I don't know why you're out here trying to get Brazilians and Argentinians and Chileans to like.
Well, I mean,
How much more money do you need?
Well, I mean, I think if you look at and obviously this is like more broad scaled, if you will, but like looking at soccer, right? I guess the real football, the English Premier League is the best soccer league in the world.
Correct.
And the Premier League has a big
England.
American audience. No, but they have a big American audience.
They don't play regular season games in St. Louis.
Correct.
They don't take their best,
but they don't need to. But they don't need to
fly them across the pond.
Well, they don't need to.
Play games.
You got to remember
in Trenton.
Well, you got to remember they don't need to. So the way that
neither does the NFL, because the NFL is not going to, because you're not going to create. You're not going to with. All right.
Hey, Autumn. But yeah,
you're not going to create. You're not going to create enough of buzz to where you're not going to create football leagues. You're not going to get football players from Brazil or South America.
All right. So last thing,
you have
real
enough
quick.
players coming out of Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and California to fill your NFL.
So real quick, last question on that. Do you think that's why NFL Europe and all that didn't work, or do you think it was mismanaged in some ways?
I think it just wasn't. It's competing. You're a local brand competing with the global brand that's established, that is literally already ingratiated itself to every other place on the planet. Everybody,
fast ass first half, by the way.
Every country that has a great soccer program probably has a great national team. They've been featured in the World Cup. They already are locked in, and they're locked into the European leagues. And that's why those are the best leagues, because the world's best players go to Europe. The only players in the world who play football are here. You got a few guys that play rugby from New Zealand, and a few guys in the international plan that NFL is trying to incorporate. But it's just, to me, it's taken away a home game from a Philly faithful fan. Granted, I know they added the 17th game, so you might still get 8 home games. But if you're wasting a Christmas home game, I don't know what's the schedule, but like a Christmas game, for instance, Jacksonville played 2 games in England back-to-back weeks.
Right.
Last year. what like their fans just flat out, unless they wanted to fly to England to watch them play, which is probably quicker than flying to England than it is to fly to Seattle. But the fact that they put that team out there for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all it is for me. Because I think you're already, I think your expansion in your brand is already as far as it's gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
You're just at this point, you're just taking away home game opportunities for the local fans that pay. Like I said, a few years ago, it was something like, and you probably can attest to this being in Texas, and I think you went to a Cowboys game. Mm-hmm. It was $789 for a family of 4 to go to one Cowboys game. That's sitting in the nosebleed. That was probably like 6 or 7 years ago. Now we're probably at like 1,200.
I went to the game on Thanksgiving, this past Thanksgiving. Me and one other person. We were sitting in section 445.
And it goes 100, 200, 300, 400.
Right. And that was about $650 just for the tickets. So that's not including the food yet, gas, whatever the case may be, since I'm down here in San Antonio. But then on top of that, luckily, I got this disability, so I can get into parking for free. But parking was $120 outside the stadium. $120. The cheapest I saw was $80.
Yo, hold up. $120? I thought
$120.
It's 40 at MetLife, and I went to the game in December when it was raining, and I think the parking lot attendants, so I got there probably 2-3 minutes into the first quarter because I'm always late.
Right.
And so I parked, and I pulled up, and I parked right by the stadium, literally. I'm in the stadium, and then it's that section of parking right there. I'm looking around this can't be right. These gates shouldn't be open. I'm in the wrong spot. So I got out of my car, and there's a guy getting out of his car, and I thought I saw a placard hanging. I'm like, yo, did you pay for parking? I'm like, what is it? He was like, yo, I think it costs, but I don't see any parking attendants. Like I said, it was cold, raining in December. They're like, they don't care. But it's normally $40. You mean $120 a park at a parking lot that's already built? And this is right outside the stadium, any parking, any paved parking, right outside of AT&T.
Yeah. So a lot of stadiums that I've been to, especially more so on the college football side, there's areas, supermarkets, whatever, where you can find a little spot and just go around the corner or whatever. Where AT&T is, it's just a whole there's no plazas. There's just here's a little Caesars, here's a T-Mobile or whatever. And it's just those miniature parking lots. So you almost have to park at the stadium. You know what I mean? Because everything else is too far.
I went to Levi Stadium for the Pac-12 championship in 2018.
Uh-huh.
And we ended up parking at a mechanic spot a couple of blocks away from the stadium, but that was $30. But every business was offering parking.
Mm-hmm.
They was either putting up signs saying towing enforced, or you could pay $30. It was I think it was $50 at the stadium, $40 was you walk a half a block, and then a full block away was $30. And it's the same thing. I think in Green Bay, a lot of people pretty much pay their mortgage of charging people to park on their grass.
You know what I'm saying? We're getting called out. I like it.
Oh, but we're not talking about the NBA?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's a 27-point game. We started off the first half hour with the NBA. Now we're talking about a little bit of everything. This is not an NBA show. It is a sports show.
Sports podcast. Appreciate
So while there's a 27-point game on, we're just, just chatting a little bit.
The same thing happened when it's the same thing that happened when Dallas was beating the brakes off of Minnesota. It's I mean, it's 25-point game right now, 2:50 left in the first half, which has gone by super fast.
Yeah, that's what I said. This is a very fast first half, and part of it is Boston's jacking a bunch of threes, so the clock is just running. Dallas is just running into people begging for fouls, So I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you got. You know what I mean? And this is a sports show, you want us to talk about why Dallas is down by 27. Boston's hitting shots and they're not.
Yeah, the same reason we talked about on Tuesday. Their role players need Luka to get him the ball. And
Right.
Boston's like, we're not letting you get the ball.
Right. But since I put it in the hashtag, I'm sorry, but I got one more place to go. So I was looking at college football today. Now we're on commercials, so I'm gonna sneak some college football in real quick if that's okay.
We'll get back to the NBA. Appreciate the support though. Go ahead and hit that like button though.
Saying I was looking at, we're getting closer to, spring football is already over. We're heading into fall camps and all this kind of stuff coming up soon. And I was trying to find sleepers, right? So of course, first and foremost, the Utah Utes, bringing back their whole offense, including their quarterback that was injured for the whole season.
He's like 30 years old.
Yeah, the Kansas Jayhawks, who are going to be playing a lot of home games at Arrowhead this year due to construction going on. As I look around the nation, can SMU get off the ground in the ACC? Is there going to be an ACC in 2 years? But I'll get off of college football. Just wanted to throw that out there real quick. So back to the NBA. So the Lakers, we were talking about Danny Hurley. So right now, I got you. We got, because it's all commercial right now. So we're at 60-33 Boston with 2:32 left in the second quarter. So leading us off is Jaylen Brown with 13 points and 3 rebounds. Jason Tatum, 8.6 boards, 3 assists. Porzingis with 15 points in the first half. Whereas Dallas, on the other hand, if Luka and Kyrie aren't scoring, there ain't a whole lot happening. Luka with 12 points on 5 of 11, Kyrie on 6 points on 3 of 9. Nobody else is taking more than 4 shots for Dallas. So that's where we are right now. 27-point game. We're about 250 away from halftime. So Danny Hurley is the new candidate for the Los Angeles Lakers, as we've heard today. Thoughts on that?
Shout out to Nick Wright. I want to make sure that I give him credit. I'm not taking his idea, but what he said today on First Things First is like, I don't buy it.
Okay.
And
he still thinks it's JJ Redick?
Yeah, he's like, I might be in a minority, and I was listening, like, you're not. Because one thing that Danny Hurley said after the national championship game, not even the money, not even I love these kids. He says something very poignant, and you got to live around this area to understand it. He was like, I married a girl from Jersey, and she was mad at me for going to Rhode Island, and I got to Connecticut, and that's close. You think I'm gonna leave here? Like,
yeah, because Kentucky
that's a real like thing. Like Jersey people love Jersey. A lot of people want to shit on it. They don't, they really know the ins and out. But people from Jersey,
Tatum?
Oh my God, who grew up here, they love it here.
Yeah.
And especially if you can go somewhere else and like be successful and come back to Jersey and then put your roots back in, that's a big deal for
You're
people.
a legend.
In Jersey.
Your money's no good here.
Family's really big here. That's why a lot of the restaurants are family run. I mean, that's why the pizza's so good, because it's not a lot of chains. Like when I see people eat Domino's in New York City and in Jersey and stuff like that, I'm like, are you serious? You eating Domino's? Cut it out.
Play ball, Luka. There ain't no whistle.
Or when someone says they're going to Subway, like, nah, Jersey, like, people really love. So when he said my wife was mad at me, he's like, I'm not going to, he's not going to LA.
Porzingis, again, that's 18 for those keeping count. Yeah. And we got a 28-point game. But, so Kentucky was after him, prior to hiring Mark Pope. And he kind of reiterated what you were just talking about. My wife's from Jersey, she'd kill me if I moved to the South, type thing.
Yeah.
But also, obviously money isn't a thing, but I would think that to some degree, it just depends on what are your goals. Like, does he view himself as an NBA coach? Like, I think he's the type of coach that could do well in the NBA, but I don't know if the Lakers, right. The Lakers aren't that team. Like if Cleveland, if the Cavs wanted to hire him.
That's what Chris Broussard said. Like, you need a young team. They talked about his practice, and his practice was harder than Thibodeau's practice.
Right. If you're the Pistons and you do come off of Monty Williams for whatever reason, and he goes to the Lakers, you might want to look at a
if
Danny Hurley.
OKC needed a coach, I
Right.
need a young team that's deep. I can run 11 guys out there that can run and play hard, and they move without the ball.
Like, no
The Lakers
disrespect.
do none of that.
No
They don't do
disrespect.
an ounce of that.
I'm not leaving my back-to-back national champions to go coach the last 2 years of LeBron James. Like, not like if this was LeBron, if this was 2017, I'm all in. You know what I mean? But being that this is the last 2 years of his career and it's championship or bust, I don't know if I want to sign up for that at this point. Maybe after LeBron leaves, Lakers call me.
Yeah, I don't know if any coach would sign up for. Did he miss both free throws? Would sign up to play for the Lakers. I mean, coach the Lakers. Like, I don't get it. Right now, the Lakers need to hire JJ because he's the friend. Or, like I said, go to Frank Vogel.
Right.
Because I don't see Rush, because you can't get a first-time coach. Maybe, like I said, maybe Sam Cassell. But the report of Hurley, I didn't buy it. I think it might be a conversation that maybe they had. But on top of that, if I'm Danny Hurley, I'm looking at Rob Pelinka's track record, and I'm thinking, like, what is your record that says you could keep and put a team together? Because you won a championship and blew that entire team up, and then you kept getting. It was like you were making copies of a copy of a copy, and every single roster iteration that you came up with got worse and worse. Like, every role player got worse and worse.
They ain't giving Luka any of this tic tac stuff right now. Like, they're like, yo, you gonna earn these fouls. You know.
Yeah. So
So here we go. They got it down to 21. Jason Tatum for 3 with the air ball. We're at halftime now. So 63-42. You know, and obviously it's the first half. This game ain't over. Luka's meeting the referee at half court. So, you know, they're having a discussion. I don't know if this is a Tom Brady moment where, you know, he's letting the referee know how to find them for the Christmas list or not. But yeah, here we are. You know, so we got Malika Stephen A. and Will Bond coming up at the half. Josh Hart in studio. But yeah, so when I think about Danny Hurley coming to the Lakers, like I said a couple of minutes ago, I think he could be a successful NBA coach because I think guys like Danny Hurley are just successful at whatever they put their mind to. You know, he is a dedicated coach, but right now you're riding the wave. You just got Caravan back. You know, why not go for the three-peat? Why not, you know, stay where you've become a legend, you know, or where you're going to be remembered as a legend? So I don't know if coaching the Lakers is the answer because, one, there's just too much drama that I'm not dealing with right now for a team that doesn't deserve it. They're talking about trading the number 17 pick to get something to put around AD and LeBron. I don't know what the number 17 pick nets you that is going to put you over the top. Whatever you bring in, does that mean you have to get rid of Austin Reeves? Because if so, you could have just did that last season and brought something else in. You know, where's D'Lo fit in this equation? So, you know, and if you do bring in Monty Williams, you know, why? The last time we saw Monty Williams, you know, getting into playoffs and being a contender, he was losing one game at 50 at halftime on his home floor in a game 7, and then he got crushed by damn near just as much the next time. So I don't know if Monty Williams is the answer either. The Lakers just are what they are at this point. So now my next question for Mr. Logical is more along the lines of, we're watching the NBA Finals right now. We've already talked about Boston as far as if Boston doesn't win this title, is it time to blow it up? Is it time to let Missoula go? Is it time to make a move? But let's back off of that for a second and let's go with, is Dallas here to stay, or are they just the hot team for this season?
Yeah, I don't think their roster is sustainable, especially if they get bounced. If they play like this for this entire series and they lose in 5, it's gonna be a situation where you're looking around like, okay, who do we have that can compete with Denver? If you look at Denver's lineup, because granted, they didn't have to play Denver, they got Minnesota, which they were lucky because I think Denver maybe plays them a little better. I don't know how Minnesota really beat Denver other than like the first couple of games where they just basically were allowed to play street ball and roughhouse Jamal Murray. And I think he was still coming off his injury. Then he got that time off the rest, like that 5 days. And then he came back and they won 3 straight. And then obviously Minnesota went on the tear for 2 more games. I don't know if there's really a strategy that helped them win or if it's just a matter of like they just bombarded them with shots in game 6, and then game 7 the Denver players just disappeared. I don't see anybody out west really making enough moves to make their team that much better than Dallas. Like I don't know what the Clippers can do with the aging players that they have.
Well, it sounds like Harden's going to be gone at the very least.
Westbrook is probably gone. Paul George is probably gone unless they can make him an offer. Kawhi
he's locked in the 152.
But does he want to even play that much? And on top of that, like what players are you bringing that you can pair with Kawhi at this point?
And what does Kawhi have left?
Memphis, maybe Ja comes back and they can make a move with whatever draft pick. I'm pretty sure they got a pretty decent draft pick. Or maybe those guys getting experience.
Do you think Denver needs to overreact? Because I've heard people say that Denver should maybe look at trading Michael Porter Jr. Do you think something like that could be on the table?
I imagine that, but I don't know. What are you trying to get for Michael Porter Jr.? Do you want another starter, or do you want 2 guys that you can come off the bench, or 2 guys, or 2 draft picks and a guy that can come off the bench? And
that's the problem.
Like, what are you trying to get? That's the thing is like you got to figure out what I think sometimes we as pundits we talk about these draft possibilities. And I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to get for it? Like, what am I going to get? Is my team going to get any better? Like, what am I gaining by moving this asset? Or even having that conversation out loud? And I think that spoils it. Like the Lamar Odom trade when it got vetoed, the Chris Paul,
Paul Gasol, got vetoed.
Yeah. So when Lamar got back in the locker room, hey, welcome back. He was like, nah, man, move me.
And see, and that's where like I get frustrated because we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. Denver does have Julian Strawther on the bench from Gonzaga, who I think has a lot of potential. They do have Peyton Watson, who helped out in the first round against the Lakers. So why not? And there were games where, they were down 25. And this wasn't against the Lakers. This is against Minnesota. You weren't coming back. Why not get these guys some minutes to whereas – next season, as we enter the playoffs, because I still, Denver's going to make the playoffs. Next year, I got guys that have a little bit of experience versus you've been here a year or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, but these guys are inexperienced. You could have got them a few minutes in spots,
I think it's a lot of teams that just need to play more guys. Because we're getting to a point where it looks and feels as if we're running out of stars. And it's like Nieheim, the kid from Indiana.
Oh, Nembhard, yeah.
Nembhard. When he got his run when Halliburton was out, it's like they want these guys to come in as ready-made stars, top 4s, top 5 picks, but then you get a guy at 7 or 8, but you don't give him any run. You don't give him any burn. Like, how is this guy athletic enough and talented enough to be one of 400 people in this league, but yet you took him 8th overall, 10th overall, 11th overall, and you can't get him on the court? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And that's where, OKC, you don't need to overreact. You're going to lose Gordon Hayward, which is going to open up some cap space for you. You don't need to go crazy. I know a lot of people have been promoting Lauri Markkanen from Utah going to OKC, which would be dynamic. You add another shooter, a shooter with size, put him next to Chet. You can have a better version of what, or at least a younger version of what Boston has with Horford and Porzingis. But I don't think OKC needs to overreact and try to go get another star or try to get another big piece to solve a puzzle. Like, OKC is a good enough team. This was their year to take a lump, get some
Yeah.
experience. Maybe next year you push for the Western Conference Finals. Even if you
Yeah.
don't get there,
I think most teams are built that way. It just someone has to be in the building to say, "Yo, be easy, pump the brakes. We don't need to make a lot of moves. Even if you were a bad team last year."
He said not right now.
and you got Phoenix stuck, because Bradley Beal has the no trade clause. I think that Devin Booker is Phoenix's guy. So I don't know if you're going to move Devin Booker right now, at least not up until the trade deadline, potentially. Could Kevin Durant be on the move? I would hope not. You know what I mean? But could you put some test the waters out there and see if there's a team that thinks that they're a KD away, and you can see what you could get for him, even though Bill would be the one that you would want to trade.
I think a lot of teams made a lot of bad moves and they're just stuck.
Yeah.
You're just stuck. Like, I mean, coast to coast. I think there's a lot of teams that are just simply stuck where they are, and they're stuck with their coach, whatever it be the contract. They're stuck with a player because of the contract. They're stuck behind the eight ball because they traded for a guy like they traded for Jordan Poole, and he's getting $140 million, and it's like he's out there playing like a junior varsity kid playing against the state champions. You're just like throwing the ball away. You're just stuck. And I think a lot of teams are stuck because it was like years. We talked about it last week in our case study. Like certain teams have just consistently put themselves in a position to where what we're doing now isn't building for the future. What we're doing now is setting us up to fail within 2 years. The Lakers, without LeBron rolls an ankle and he misses 2 months, that team, I'm talking about any year that he's been there. Like when he hurt his groin that year, they were like second or third in the West. He hurt his groin, missed X number of games. He came back, they were like seventh or eighth, missed the playoffs. I mean, so it's like that's, and then they kept making worse moves, thinking like, oh, we're running out of time. They made another bad move, multiple bad moves, multiple bad trades, ignore one trade.
They're trying to band-aid everything.
All the people who needed a dynamic second score the past couple of years who didn't call and try to get Kyrie, they failed because they allowed whatever pressure surrounding the narrative with Kyrie hold them back from making a sound decision for their basketball team. Dallas made a good move. They took their lumps last year, and boom, now look at them in the finals. They didn't revisit trading him in the offseason. They said, you know what? We'll be able to run this. Mm-hmm. And they did. So that's the difference. And I think that should be the model that people look at. It's like, you know what? Dallas kept their dynamic pieces, got a good rookie, made a trade with a team that tends to give away good players, the Washington Wizards. And then, now they're in the NBA Finals.
So taking it over to the East, we've already talked about Boston ad nauseum and what we think Boston should do. And I still can't figure out what side of the camera I'm trying to touch, like I'm all over the place. But
happens every time.
But looking at the East, right? Boston's here in the finals. They won 64 games this season, 12-2 in the playoffs, haven't lost on the road in the playoffs this season. So looking around the East, as I look at Milwaukee, for example, is the Chris Middleton time over? Are you trying to bring something else in to put next to Giannis and Dame? Brook Lopez is going to be 36 next year. Bobby Portis, is it time to move on from him? Like, is there a move or is there something that Milwaukee could do to look more like the team that we thought they would be this year?
And I'll put Milwaukee in one of those categories. It was like, you said OKC is a young team. They got bounced in the second round, but you can run it back with them.
Right.
I think Milwaukee's the kind of team that will pull that Phoenix move where you bring in like a Durant or a Beal to kind of just front load your team as much as you can because the clock is ticking on so many of your players. I think they might be in a position to do it because I think because what Dame gives you and what Giannis gives you is they're both dynamic in different spots of the floor. So you can get another wing guy and it doesn't really adversely affect the flow of the team. Whereas like we talked about Booker, Beal, and Kevin Durant, they all three of them do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Durant
just
can play.
different sizes. Yeah,
They're just different sizes. Durant can play bit better defense, but that's if he is not required to be the ball handler and score. And they never really worked together offensively. It wasn't like a Clay, Steph, KD situation where that triangle of death with those three players. They just kind of all wanted to get to the same spots every possession, no matter who had the ball. And I think if Milwaukee makes a move, they can make a move like one of those swing for the fences kind of moves. I don't know what they could do about getting DeRozan. I don't know what Chicago's talking about. I don't know if Chicago will even make that trade. But a guy like DeRozan who's going to give you that inside the paint, to pull up, but he's not going to interrupt Giannis's flow because he's not a guy that attacks the rim as aggressively as Giannis. He's a pull up. He's a Kawhi guy.
Right.
And Dame he attacks the rim and he shoots the three. So I think you have like a three-headed monster there. I don't really like those kind of formatted teams, but when you are running out of time, you can make that kind of desperate move. I think some other teams make that move too early.
Right. So if you're Philadelphia, is Paul George or Jimmy Butler the answer?
It's the answer to get you 41 good home game audience attendance. It's enough to keep you relevant, but I don't know if it gets you over the hump because I don't know what you get from Jimmy Butler and Embiid in the playoffs. I don't know if they work well with each other. We talked about Jokic or Embiid. Who would you take? We both say Jokic because Jokic, like he's actively getting guys the ball off double teams. Where I think Embiid, when he gets double, tends to like just shoot the turn. And he scores a lot, and I think he can get he can get you 4 or 5 assists. But that's not the design of his game. So I don't know.
Jimmy Butler's going to be 35 or 36 next year, and Paul George ain't that far behind. He's going to be 33 or 34. So, now I do like Paul George.
Guys in their early, I don't, like I said, these guys are like top athletes. And
Old. And that's what I was going to say. I do like Paul George from the standpoint of the ball handling that he'll bring and help Maxey out, where there's not going to be such a usage on Maxey to have him playing a lot of, I don't want to say out of position, but doing a lot more than he probably needs to do for the team to be successful. Whereas Jimmy Butler, on the other hand, is just, it's the intangibles that he would bring to the team, the toughness that he would bring to the team.
But Philly's one of those teams that I said they made moves off of emotion that wasn't going to help their team get any better. They didn't make a single move. So after they got
all right, second half's underway.
So we got after the Toronto, after Kawhi Leonard traveled and then hit the game winner in Game 7. I like to mention that. No, sure. Like after they made that move, I think that offseason they lost Jimmy.
Yeah, that was you chose Tobias over me or whatever.
You chose Tobias Harris.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, they had the Eastern Conference Finals run where they lost to no, I think we had the bubble.
No, they haven't made the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah,
Philly.
So we had the bubble year, and I can't remember what happened then, but then we had Atlanta beat them, and Atlanta went to the Eastern Conference Finals because Ben Simmons went and dunked the ball.
Yeah.
Embiid and Doc Rivers immediately go into the press conference and say how they don't think they could win with him on a team or how he should have shot the ball, which if you know a guy the whole
Drew
year.
Holiday with the defense. Yeah.
You know he's kind of his emotional state. You know how to get to him in the locker room. So you don't call him out publicly, which they did. Then they end up moving Ben, getting or trying to keep Ben, end up moving him. Got James Harden in. That was a move that wasn't going to last. So it's just like every year they got progressively worse. And now they're at the point where they just have to just run it back and hope they can land a free agent that plays better than expectation.
Yeah, now Cleveland is in transition because, they fired BJ Bickerstaff. Questions, if Donovan Mitchell's going to re-sign. Different things that I've read makes it sound like Donovan Mitchell owns this team, he's put his imprint on this team. So maybe Darius Garland is the odd man out. All I know is somebody got to start getting Mobley the ball more. and Jared Allen's probably on his way out. So Cleveland's in flux right now as far as this is the time where Milwaukee could be coming back to the pack and a team like Cleveland could step up. Obviously you got New York there as well, but Cleveland could step up as well. But now they're in flux. So, you got New York with OG Anunoby as a free agent. But for the most part, most of the teams should be coming back. Indiana has Siakam as a free agent, but most of the teams should be coming back. And then you got Orlando sitting there waiting for either a vet or their guys to take that next step.
And that's the thing. I think Orlando can just run it back. They could just run it back with those guys, OKC style. Whatever young guy missed a lot of time this season because of injury or rotation, you can build him and work him into the rotation. Philly is a lot like Cleveland in that regard because Cleveland fired their coach essentially for no reason. They fired their coach, and now you put everything else in flux. So last time, that was a foul. They didn't call it.
That was definitely a foul.
You got, so we'll talk about
Derek White in the corner. Nope. Threes ain't falling no more, but Dallas ain't taking advantage right now.
The year that LeBron was going to be a free agent before he went down to Miami, they fired the coach and the GM, I think. And LeBron was like, I don't want to be part of a rebuild.
Right.
So you knew that before he made his announcement. Oh, we got a charge. So
that was a makeup call. That was a makeup call because they didn't give Luka the foul on the 3.
Yeah, so but he's pushing off every single time.
Yeah, I know, but Horford was in that
clean.
No, Horford was in the landing spot though. Horford was in the landing spot.
But he blocked the ball. You can block if you block the ball, then that's where you are.
All right, here we go. So down 18, 8:43 left in the third quarter. Can Dallas make the run now that Boston's threes aren't falling? They still look a little discombobulated because, Luka and Kyrie have to be the and one all-stars.
Yeah.
And now he just dribbled it off his foot, Kyrie. Drew Holiday leading the break, pulling up for 3. Nope, short. Derek White with the easy rebound and going to the free throw line. So also Boston on top of in the first half, they were nailing all these shots. They're just beating Dallas to the ball as well. So like Dallas is going to have to get
because they have the lead to where the mistakes aren't costing them mentally because they have that lead. Like I said, the role players come in and they see it's an 18-point lead.
So do you think that just to use a name because I've heard his name mentioned with a couple of teams, where does Klay Thompson fit as far as he's a vet? You're not looking for him to be a star. Is there somewhere where we could put Klay that could help out one of these teams that we're talking about that you're not a piece away from a championship per se, but if you could get.
But what is he going to command financially? Is he going to want a big check or is he just going to want a new place?
I think it just depends on who the team is. Like he might ask Orlando for some money, the bad team tax, if you will. But if you put him in Milwaukee, maybe not.
That's what I was thinking. I was going to think like Milwaukee, the Middleton, you get Middleton to move. Maybe Middleton makes that. Maybe Middleton is like that guy that the Lakers can maybe squeeze out of a role player, not a role player, but a 3-and-D guy, big body, a veteran who can shoot. Because right now they keep bringing in guys who can't shoot.
Yeah,
so if somebody's available that can shoot, I don't know if Klay is that guy.
Yeah, and I mean Middleton brings you a closer as well, where late in the game it's not all on AD and LeBron more so LeBron to make the plays. PJ Washington all the way to the basket. We got a timeout for Boston, 68-52 with 7:43 left in the third quarter. So Dallas still looks a little
at one point, right?
Yep. Dallas looks a little sluggish still. Well, actually, at halftime it was a 27-point lead. So so Dallas is making inroads, but it's still not fluid. It's still not.
Yeah, it's very choppy.
They're still they're still not running an offense. They're still just kind of watching Luka and Kyrie dribble and hoping to benefit off of something.
Yeah.
Benefit off of something. Yeah. So so like a Klay Thompson to Milwaukee could work, but it's dependent on. My question is, does he have enough defense left for that to work? Because that was the problem this year with Milwaukee, was that whoever you had in the backcourt with Dame, it was just too small of a backcourt. Even when you got Patrick Beverly, it was too small of a backcourt.
Yeah,
and
Patrick Beverly's small.
They
He
couldn't
has a
stop
heart
anybody.
of a lion, but he built like a prairie dog.
Yeah.
In the NBA sense.
So Boston, obviously we haven't hit free agency or any of that yet. But from my vantage point, right now Boston is still the team to beat in the East next year, starting out. Maybe the Knicks, if they can keep Anunoby and stay healthy, maybe, and have Randall, maybe the Knicks can make a push towards Boston. In the West, I still think it's wide open going into next season. It's like there's 3 or 4 teams there, and it depends on what Minnesota does. Because do you think, here's another question. Do you think, because I know it's easy to pile on, everybody's been kind of saying the same thing, is Minnesota overreacting if they get rid of Cat?
Yes, absolutely. They're in Game 7. Like they won Game 7 against Denver,
the defending champion,
defended champs. And then when Cat was knocking down shots when they were down 3-0, granted it sucked they were down 3-0. He's knocked down the shots. They won that game. He does provide you the stretch 4, stretch 5 that every team is looking for. Because if you trade him, like, what's your market value for him? You have Gobert. Like I said, we thought the 2 towers wasn't going to work. I think it does work. You just might need to get these other guys that were playing more opportunity to shoot the 3. You got Mike Conley. I don't know if he's running it back again, because he talked about that, about his age. He's like, he said selfishly, man, win this for me, because, it's probably hard for him to get his body ready again for the next season.
Right.
But you get another guard, like a point guard like that, because, just someone who can just kind of run the offense, or Tyus Jones, or one of those kind of like point guards, like someone who plays a little bit like Rondo. They're just someone that just plays tough defense, get you some shots.
Well,
but yeah, I wouldn't trade Cat, because I don't think Cat was the problem.
Well, I don't like this move, but something I've been hearing a couple of different people on different podcasts mention is trading Cat for Trae Young. I don't like that at all.
I saw one that said Cat for KD because the money works out.
That's a little better. That's because KD can fit anywhere. You know what I mean?
But I don't know if Phoenix makes that move, even though I think it would work for Phoenix, because, like I said, it opens up Beal's and Booker's spots.
And he still doesn't have to play the 5 per se, because you got Nurkic there.
Yeah, he doesn't have to play the 5. Now you automatically get yourself space. I'm not saying Kevin Durant didn't give you space, but Kevin Durant liked to shoot 2-point pull-ups. He had a good pull-up game. He didn't shoot that many threes. He didn't shoot that many threes per game.
Yeah. All right, here comes Luka up the court, same score. You got Horford on him. He goes to the paint all the way, lay up, flopping on the floor again. Here comes Derek White down the court. The lead is down to 14 now. Jason Tatum's wide open. They missed him. Here comes Holiday, with Derek Jones on him. The spin move, Holiday going to the free throw line. At this,
Luka's wincing a little bit.
Yeah, because he keep jumping on the fucking floor. Like we were talking about. Remember, we were talking about this with Embiid. From the standpoint of you're falling all the time. And initially I thought maybe he came down on somebody's ankle because Horford was there, but I
saw the replay. He
was just clumsy. Yeah, he's just clumsy. But Luka's just on the floor over and over. And I mean, you're already on a bad knee. Which hopefully this week. The week off that they had gave him the ability to heal some, and he came out looking good tonight. But he keeps falling.
His body on the floor. Yeah, he's on the floor every time. Sometimes he might be getting bumped. But like I say, he did the same thing in Game 1, and looks like they got Jaylen Brown on him.
Yep. So here comes Kyrie. He's got Drew Holiday on him. PJ Washington working on Derek White turnaround, missing the hook shot. Looks like we got some free throws coming. And this is
for who? When did he get fouled?
Oh, I thought they called a foul.
When?
They called it right after he missed the shot. Here we go. Here comes the replay. He goes up for the shot. Yeah, I don't see a foul. I don't see a foul.
I see 4 people battling for a rebound.
Yeah, I see a loose ball, but I didn't see a foul. So PJ Washington, and of course him at the free throw line is an adventure.
Adam Silver was like, listen, we made these people wait 9 days. I didn't watch the whole game because I'm pretty sure some people ready to turn it off. If Boston would have come out and gone up 30, 32 points, it would have been a lot of people watching Love is Blind on Netflix.
Yep. Ultimatum South Africa.
It would be like, listen, honey, this game's over. Let's watch something else.
All right, so here we go. Still a 14-point game. Drew Holiday coming down. So what I'm noticing is Boston isn't getting as fluid shots as they were in the first half. I don't know if this is one of those things where they're getting complacent to some degree and they're just going through the motions.
Well, the crowd's kind of tensed up. The big lead is cutting down. Porzingis wasn't in the game. He gave him a lot of energy because I think the fans are really excited for him.
Yeah, he's back now.
So he's back. So I think it's just the fans are sitting down now. So if you get
Jason Tatum doing what I need him to do.
And then you got Luka heating up, and people, Luka's one of those, he's a special player.
Yeah.
I mean, the lead's down now to 13. I know I'm a little ahead of you, but
no, I got it.
Yeah.
So Drew Holiday coming back up the court with Kyrie on him.
All right, Lively.
That's the matchup that Drew Holiday needs to take advantage of. Like if this was the old NBA, he'd be posting Kyrie up, or he'd be taking him to the paint and putting his body on him. Jaylen Brown for 3, no good. Luka with another rebound, getting trailed by Derek White. Derek Jones all the way to the hole. Whoa, Tatum, okay, nice block. Kyrie open for 3. No. Drew Holiday with the rebound. So Dallas is getting some better looks now, but most of it is off of broken plays or, just moving the ball quickly before Boston can get into position. They're still not having success against Boston's set or base defense, if you will. That block by Tatum was nice. That's what I need from you, Tatum.
Yeah, I think at this point they need to attack the rim because Lively is very handsy with Porzingis. And I think they can get another foul on him.
And see, this is what I'm talking about. Not to do the box score thing, but Gafford is 3 for 3 right now. Lively hasn't even taken a shot yet. He doesn't have one shot attempt right now
because he has no other way to he doesn't have an offensive expectation other than be there to catch the lob, be there to get the offensive rebound.
And here comes Kyrie. There you go. We got an 11-point game. The TD Bank or the TD Garden is I don't have my sound on right now, but I imagine the crowd is uneasy. Boston's just kind of lagging right now. Like Jaylen Brown's going 1-on-1. Drew Holiday from the corner. Nope. And is that over the back?
Another ticky-tack foul, man.
Yep, over the back. Dallas can get this to a single-digit game.
That's a travel. Jesus Christ. I don't know what these refs are doing, man. It's like they only
traveling
call
isn't
fouls.
entertaining. Traveling isn't entertaining.
It's like they only call fouls. I haven't seen and Luka legend.
There it is. Down to an 8-point game. You better call another timeout.
He did.
You know what I'm saying? Here we go. As Dick Vitale would say, they need a TO, baby. Awesome with a capital A. We got an 8-point game. Moving screen. Yep. Yeah. They didn't call that either.
Didn't call that either.
But yeah, hey, we got a game at the TD Garden. That's all we've been looking for. Oh, he's looking at the crowd now.
Luka's got the little 5 o'clock shadow beard popping.
You know what I'm saying? Luka's going into villain mode now.
Hey, this is what I mean. It's when we talk about Tatum. Like, all right, Tatum, you've watched him come down and take these many shots in a row or be part of the action.
And so what are people out there thinking about? Have you heard anybody in the comments? Have you heard anything about this Clipper show? Anybody been watching that?
I saw a clip today where I hope Doc Rivers wasn't talking as reckless as he was.
It's a big baby.
Yeah, the big baby and what he said about he's like, I should have listened to Sterling when he was talking about DeAndre Jordan that traded you.
Yeah, he
And
was talking
when he
about
said Matt, whatever he said to Matt Barnes, like, no wonder why your wife left you. Like, you can't
yeah,
talk like
you're
that in the
lazy
practice.
and you ain't got no effort. Is this why your wife left you? And what was the other thing? He said something to Big Baby about like, oh, do you miss KG or
Oh
something
yeah,
along those lines? Like, yeah, speaking of Big Baby, I was listening to the Higher Learning podcast with Van Lathan and Rachel Lynn Lindsay, and they had him on there. He's Van Lathan's cousin, talking about his jail sentence and how he
prison.
prison sentence
Prison sentence. Yeah.
for 40 months. He was the biggest name in the case. Didn't get the biggest time because Terrence Williams was figured out to be the mastermind behind it. And he was just kind of explaining how he got caught up in it, how he felt railroaded. His attorney told him not to testify, all these different things. And, being that you are our criminal justice expert here, I felt bad for him in a lot of ways, but there was also a part of me that was just like, why are you putting your name on stuff? Like he was.
Why are
Go
you
ahead.
getting involved? Why are you getting involved with something and then try to go plead to the court of public opinion? Like I try to tell y'all, the public and the court, they don't mesh.
So according to
I know
him,
it does help
just for
out when you're a
background,
celebrity.
yeah, just for background, I don't know if you heard the interview or not, but
No.
just for background, his story was,
fill me in.
Yeah, his story was, he was playing for the Clippers still, broke his ankle, but wasn't diagnosed with a broken ankle. So he was still trying to play on it. He was still out there, didn't miss any time. Like he would get shot up, like you always say, go take the cortisone shot, come back. So he was out there playing, allegedly, this is his story, playing on the broke ankle. So the end of the season comes. He's a free agent now. So now that he's a free agent, he doesn't have access to team doctors, all this kind of stuff. So it was in the off season that people around him told him, like, dude, your ankle may be broken. So he went into, I guess, a regular doctor, whatever the case may be. Doctor confirmed, like, hey, you got a broken ankle. So Terrence Williams or whoever comes to him and says, hey, there's this fund out here, through the union and everything that is supposed to help you in situations like this. You're injured, you're not on a team, nobody's taking care of you. Here's this money that is ours to use for these situations. But then, it looks like they were using it for other stuff, obviously. Whereas, according to Big Baby, like, hey, I got receipts that show I was getting ankle treatment, that I was getting chiropractor treatment. I never knew that they were doing what they were doing. But the problem is that he was signing stuff. Like they were sending him stuff. He was signing it. And I guess his money person, his accountant or whoever is telling him like, yeah, they just need your signature on this. So the way he presented it, of course, as most of us probably would, this is a conspiracy. And I'm the innocent bystander that doesn't know what's going on. And simply put, I'm sorry, Big Baby, you too old for that shit. You know what I mean? You too old to be like, I used to tell my airmen all the time, the only thing a lot of these people know about you is your signature. So whatever documents you sign is what people think about you. So if I get documents across my desk with your signature on it and it's not forged, I'm going to assume you knew what you were doing and you knew what you were signing. Or if you didn't know, you would be smart enough to have somebody explain it to you.
Yeah.
So he got the 40 months and, Terrence Williams got 10 years out of it.
At this point, he should have just snitched.
And that's what he brought up is that
if you can go on a podcast, if you can go on a podcast afterwards and say everything but snitch, you should have just taken the deal that they presented to you when you were first in there. Like instead of coming out here whining to me, like, listen, I get it. I'm not trying to do 40 months in prison, but that's also why I'm not out here trying to sign documents, and especially when you're taking money from a major corporation, and I'm putting my own actual name on it. Like
Kyrie with the hook. Oh, he traveled.
Oh, they called 2 travels in a row. I'm proud of them. They must have heard me. Yeah, he slid. He's
I know. I love when they look at the ref, and then he jumped. I love when they look at the ref and they're like, "Yo, what you doing?" Like,
yeah, like I'm
you know,
allowed to do that.
yeah. All right,
There
here
you go.
comes
You got
Jason Tatum.
Lively on you.
All right, here comes Jason Tatum with the switch. Here he comes. Kicks it out. Porzingis for three. No.
Here we go.
Jason Tatum with the rebound. Porzingis coming through. Dunk. All right,
There
so
we
we're
go.
back up to an 11-point game now.
Now look at the crowd now. See the difference? As soon as
Yep.
Porzingis does a couple of things.
Oh, as soon as the white guy. No, I'm just playing. So like,
I mean, it is like I said, the Boston I went to love me. I'm ready to go back.
For three. All right, here comes Jason Tatum back down the court. 11-point game, 2:55. We're going to stay with you through the end of this quarter. Here he comes with Lively on him again. Drew Holiday to the corner. Jaylen Brown.
There we
Fake. Go to the basket. Draw the foul. There you go. And
Lively about to get a tech.
And see, and this is what I was talking about. You got Lively and Gafford out of the paint. Go to the basket. Even if they're on you, somebody's open.
Yeah. And I hate that he's acting like he didn't foul him. Like, yo, you can't body check him. Like if he jumps into you, you can't go to him. Like he was doing a sidestep.
Yeah. So now Jaylen Brown, same thing. It's an adventure when he goes to the free throw line.
Yeah. Yeah. So Big Baby, like I said, by no means am I an expert on this case or even fraud, but if you were a free agent or you needed this fund and you weren't working it through an official rep of a team to access the fund, or the Players Association president or the treasurer or someone kind of vetting this program concept to you, then you knew you were getting away with something. Like I say, he probably was better off just taking a deal.
Or he could have truly been ignorant. You know what I mean? Like he could have just truly been, maybe he trusted these dudes. Because I mean, these are other NBA players. Here comes Horford. Nope, that was bad. But like, you got other NBA players coming to you, people that you trust or whatever you may know, that you're not necessarily thinking, you
know what friend to come to for financial advice, and you know what friend not to trust. Who
that might have been a good time to call KG, right?
Call somebody that made some bucks in their career and ask them about this. Or
Jason Tatum, bang. So we're back up to 16.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss, but when it comes to money, you get caught. Like I always said, like I said it, like I made a few jokes, but if you do any kind of like scheme with insurance or money or anything like that, you need to get like some kind of political official on your team in your pocket or a board member on your foundation, because they don't want to go down. So they'll look out for you. You can't just be out here with other dudes from the block you've been hanging out with, because y'all gonna get scooped up. You don't know that kind of world you live in. This corporate espionage environment that you're trying to operate in is not for everybody, especially when it comes to like insurance. Insurance companies don't play. Insurance companies didn't want to pay people in Katrina because they said the tree that fell on your shed, the hurricane didn't cause that, the flooding did. The wind didn't blow the tree over, the water did. So we're not gonna pay you.
Right.
Like those real letters that people were getting from their hurricane and flood insurance. Like, oh no, the roof didn't get damaged because of the flood. Oh, that was the hurricane that blew the shingles off. Like, the whole area got flooded, but yeah, your house wasn't completely submerged in water. So,
yeah, so he talked about they asked him, or when he was on the podcast, they asked him if he had given any money to anybody throughout the course of the situation directly, and he said he gave Terrence Williams $1,000 because Terrence Williams was asking for money or needed money or whatever the case may be. And I get that was mistake number one.
To the DA. You should have told that to the prosecutor.
Right. So he did that to himself. I'm tired of the Draymond and Rasheed Wallace being posted everywhere as far as Pistons versus Warriors.
It's still happening.
Yeah, like I don't know why people are so enamored with these scenarios. Like it's cool to talk about.
If we didn't do it all the time, it would be cool if it was like an endearment kind of conversation. If it was like, man, can you imagine Kareem versus Shaq? right.
Like
something like that. But it's always like, man, these dudes couldn't play in this era. He's soft. Look what, and the conversation is never really articulate. It's not really articulated well. It's not a very positive conversation. It's very just negative and surly, even amongst guys who played, which is like, you can make it more like a comedic or entertaining conversation. But I think guys, for some reason, people just want to, I got my word, bloviate, and then wonder why like no one really gives them credibility. It's like, stop screaming all the time, arguing like, "Oh, we're the best." Like, no one cares.
I don't know. I was trying to
chip.
figure out what Gilbert Arenas was trying to say, because he was saying that, Steph Curry doesn't. Oh, Horford. So we're back up to 19 now. He was talking about how Steph Curry doesn't command the type of attention that Allen Iverson did, and I'm just like, yo,
because you can't.
Like
you can't run like Iverson was dribbling into multiple people. You can't have more guys on the floor chasing Curry. Like,
people are picking up Steph Curry full court too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
to get the ball out of his hands. So what are you saying?
J.R. Smith said Dellavedova almost died guarding Steph Curry in that 2015 final.
Yeah, he had to go get the intravenous.
He was getting IVs. He was laying in the ice tub. Like, he was doing everything he could to just survive.
Kyrie with the left. Nope.
Survive guarding Steph Curry. And I get it.
See, this is what I was talking about, man. This is how I see this series going. Like, in the games that Boston wins, it's going to look like this, because Dallas doesn't have the third person. Like, we talked about it the other night. We were ranking the players in this series. Luka 1, Tatum 2, Kyrie 3, Jaylen Brown 4, and then it's like a run of Boston. You know what I mean? For like the next 4 or 5 players, because I didn't even say Porzingis yet. So you know what I mean? So then you got Derek White, Holiday, and then I might still even take Horford over PJ Washington.
I take Horford over PJ Washington just based off of how they use Horford and how he, like his opportunities that he gets. Like, there's an expectation that Horford, every possession down the floor, if he gets an open look, he can take it. I don't think there's a lot of stuff kind of working for PJ Washington.
Right.
Like, if he gets open, like if he's open when Luka or Kyrie looks to make the pass, then that's his opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Derek White will move the ball to Al Horford if he's in the corner, and maybe.
You know what would be hilarious to me in my 2-5 mind?
All right.
Is if Porzingis wins the MVP, if Boston wins the series, because everybody's so focused on Tatum and Brown, like, if Brown gets the final
30.
Yeah, because if Brown wins the MVP, the finals MVP, it goes back to, is Jaylen Brown better than Jason Tatum? If Jason Tatum wins finals MVP, it goes to, is he a top 5 player in the league, or like, is he here now? If Porzingis wins the MVP, it's just like, bro, we're right back at the same place with Tatum and Brown.
Yeah. But I think both of those guys would be happy with either one of them winning an MVP, because that means they won.
Right.
There was no foul on that.
And here we go. Into the third quarter, 86-66 Celtics. So going into the fourth quarter with a 20-point lead. It's been a mismatch from the opening tip. Boston got hot early. Dallas just never found it, outside of Luka getting hot within spots. But no one else on Dallas is shown up, to include Kyrie Irving. It's only game 1, so I don't want to overreact. But, listen, but this is why we talked about it. I can see this ending in 5.
Denver had a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter and end up lose, or 20-point lead in the third quarter, end up losing that game at home.
They did. You know what I mean? But that was also game 7 when they were tired, not coming off of a week rest too.
You get a Luka 3, Luka 3, a Derek White miss, a Kyrie 3, Horford miss, and another Luka 3, and the game's 11 points.
Yeah, turn on NBA Jam and all that stuff. Yeah,
which is crazy considering like Luka's 11 for 22, but I wasn't counting, but I'm pretty sure he started off probably like 5 for like
What do
16
you
or something
think?
like that.
What do you
I
think?
think he's knocked down like his last 5 or 6 shots.
What do you think Kyrie is right now?
Kyrie, without looking, 8 points, 3 for 12.
He's got 12 points. He's 6 of 19, 0 of 5 from 3. So that's the difference in the game for the most part. Tatum is 5 of 11, Brown is 6 of 11. You got Porzingis 8 of 11. You know what I mean? And no signs of slowing down because Dallas's big men can't chase him out there. And so you're going to end up potentially switching PJ on him. There's been possessions where Jones ended up on him out of the switches. You know what I mean?
He's for some reason I never really like noticed him do this before, but like he's holding the ball up high and like facing guys and making them like reach for it,
right?
But putting like his knee in between them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you gotta like I think he's baiting you to try to foul him,
right?
Which is a smart move. Maybe like this is the thing that Porzingis, how Boston got Porzingis and Drew Holiday blows my mind. First of all, just to think about it, like just to think about those two players like coming to your team in one off season when you didn't have to break up your core,
right?
Or your best role players. Like Marcus Smart's a good player, but you just took the spark from the team.
Right, he was the heart and soul, that Draymond role.
You can win and get some sparks back. Like you can start a fire with some wins. So it's amazing if they get that move.
So
that could be like the Klay Thompson, if Kevin Durant moves, or if like a guy like Cat. I think Cat to Milwaukee, if they have the assets to do it. I think that it could be that kind of Porzingis level move where it's like, so you just got like this guy that people kind of wrote off, but when he's on the court, he's very dynamic because still young, 7 feet tall. Porzingis still young, 7'3". Kind of written off by a couple other teams. I don't think Cat's been written off, but I think I imagine that the Minnesota brass are probably thinking like, we got our guy in Ant, we got our defender in Gobert, we have role players. We have a guy that can fill in Cat's role. We move Cat,
right?
Like I said, unless you get like Kevin Durant or something like that, like I wouldn't move Cat.
So last question before we get out of here. Obviously the game's not over yet. You just brought up, Minnesota coming back against Denver, but let's say it stays like this. What do you see, or what is your idea for Dallas in game 2?
I would say get Kyrie going before Luka.
Get that out of here.
I would say have Kyrie kind of initiate the offense going early because I think he draws fouls because of the way he plays. I think he's tough to guard. Luka is going to get you his points because he has a green light from anywhere, from the coaching staff and talent wise. Like he can shoot it from 27 feet off the dribble. So he can get going and he can get high and get streaky. He can beat you off the dribble. I would say get Kyrie going first. Ooh, that's a great block. And then get Luka going, and then you'll get your role players cutting to the rim. Because right now, the first quarter, those role players were like, oh, Kleber was nowhere near that. He jumped the wrong complete direction after the cross. The role players, like you said, how they were trying to attack Porzingis' body. Where's the foul? Come on, man. Like, there was no foul there.
Superstar call, baby.
So they were attacking Porzingis, but they were doing it incorrectly. Let's see. Boom. That's not a foul.
That's not a foul. That's not a foul. See, I don't like foul calls in this, like in the playoffs or whatever, when the offensive player obviously initiates the contact. Like there's times where y'all meet each other halfway. There's times where the defender comes over. There's times where the offensive player initiates it, but the reaction is so egregious. You see their head snap back, whatever. You can get caught up in that. But plays like that was all Luka. That was all Luka,
Yeah,
literally.
and
Like that.
Luka's literally pushing off with his left arm
Every single time he touches the
every
ball.
single
Every
every
single
time he
time.
drives to the hoop. If he dribbles it towards the free throw line, he's pushing off.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you got to get role players involved early. You got to get the big men involved early. You got to get PJ Washington some open looks early just to build confidence, especially on the road. As far
No,
as
I would say I would get Kyrie first and then Luka because they still need. Oh, that pass was too hard, Derek. Like Derek Jones Jr. is coming up the court with the ball now.
Yeah.
Like that's not what you need from him.
And that's what I'm saying. This is where Dallas, their lack of offense, and I don't know if this is Jason Kidd or if they're just playing, but it's like that can't be the answer. You know what I mean? That can't be the answer because one,
I like
the refs
this
haven't
one.
even been getting you that. The refs haven't been giving you that call all night. Y'all been jumping into Porzingis and whoever all night. And if your name ain't Luka, you haven't been getting that call. You know what I mean? So now,
come on, man.
Here we go.
Come on now.
Here we
Come
go.
on now.
Here
Come
we go.
on now. We might end up watching this. We probably end up doing the whole 2 hours show.
Nothing but ball right there. And,
boom.
I don't know.
Initiate the contact. Left hand push off. Swing through. He got the left arm a little bit. But he was doing the rip through.
He didn't get the left arm. Luka just raised into his arm. So it wasn't as if he made an aggressive play. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like when James Harden used to grab your arm and pull you. And I'm like, how does the ref not see that?
He was like this.
Like
with his strong arm and then be floating with his offhand.
Even if you don't see it in real time, I imagine refs watch film or teams send film, to the refs to say, watch for this. You know what I mean? But like they let that man get away with it every time, just like they letting Luka get away with the chicken wing right now. All right, so we got a 17-point game, 9:37 left. Luka inbounding. All right, here's PJ at the top.
I like Pritchard on him because
here's the three.
I think you can induce an offensive foul if you put the smaller guard on him.
Yeah,
I like that switch because he knows he can't just push and bang because he's gonna knock Pritchard over.
Oh, look at Drew Holiday working. So 90-71. We coming up on 9 minutes. Derek Jones Jr. with the alley-oop, and I don't know why. Just make the simple play, son. Just get the 7-footer the ball, bro. You ain't got to do all this.
That's what I'm saying. It's like those guys don't.
I see, and this goes back to what I was asking earlier when I was on Cups in the Gang. Where's Tim Hardaway Jr.? Where's Dante Exum?
They
just get him some minutes. I mean, you're down 20. Just get him some minutes. Try to see if you can find that spark.
We got the Luka Porzingis switch. That jumper looked a little off from the beginning. All right, so it's Kyrie back in the game.
Yeah, here comes
Kyrie. I got Derek White on Kyrie. I like the switch. They got Derek White switched on Luka. They got Pritchard. Oh, I like it.
Pritchard on Lively. He ain't no threat. And there you go. There's the turnover. See? There you go.
Timeout.
There you go. 92-71. But what were we saying? I wanted to continue where where were we? I want to continue what we were talking about right there. What were we saying?
Live show. This last when you wing it.
No, but when you're looking at Dallas's role players, that's what I was talking about. Tim Hardaway and Exum, you're down 20. You know what I mean? And Luka's out here jacking threes. Now I know he's your best player. I know he can get streaky, but he's not a shooter. You know what I mean? Like bring Hardaway in the game for a few minutes, 3 minutes, see what happens.
I think what it is that if you don't do that in the previous round, like these guys are human.
But series to series, it changes. Like, you know what I mean? There's some series where your big man can't play depending on match.
Here we go. Jeff Teague, right? We talked about Club 520. He was like, man, we were sitting on the bench. We knew we weren't getting in the game. He's like, we weren't even like paying attention. He was like, we was low-key hoping we lost. So it's like these guys are human. I know they're professionals, but it's like if I'm already out here, I'm playing. You're not giving me no burn. I've been in the league X amount of years. I've hit big shots. I played big minutes. If you push me if you got me down at 11 or 12 in this rotation, don't just yank me in when it's 20. Like putting a veteran like Tim Hardaway Jr. in the game when you're down 21 and you're not calling anything for him. When you were down 14, that's when you put a guy who's a spot up shooter in.
Right.
14, when they were down 14 in the first half, he should have got some run there.
But even Exum, just to have another ball handler, like not even looking at it from an offense standpoint, or not even for scoring, not even looking at it, and he provides defense as well. So if something's
I
not
think he's
working,
like 6'7" or 6'8". Yeah,
he was
like
get him on Jaylen Brown for a few possessions.
But I think that's
and
probably
you still got Hardy, who I haven't seen much in the second half.
Because I think that's the rotation when you're up to give Luka and Kyrie a break. I don't know if you have the rotation of where I need a role player to make some shots. I don't, because
in this scenario that I'm presenting, you don't even need to take Kyrie or Luka out. Take Derek Jones out. You know what I mean? Like take PJ out for 3 or 4 minutes.
I don't know if that gets you, because the way when you go to your bench, when you go to Exum, you want Luka off the floor, because Exum's not going to give you anything other than ball handling, essentially. So having him and Luka on the floor, he's just another body.
He can play the Derek Jones role, but finish. He can, or make a better pass than Derek Jones tried to make on that alley-oop. You know what I mean? Like, he can provide defense. Like I said,
I think the idea of having him on the court is to give Luka a break, but that's probably predicated on being in the lead.
Right.
So you can give Luka a little bit more of an extended break, because when you're down this many points, putting him in the game for 2 minutes does what? So it's like, what's the point of taking Luka out if his backup isn't going to give me anything?
I wasn't necessarily advocating that he needs to come in the fourth quarter down 21. But I'm just saying in general, like the lead wasn't always 21 or 27 or whatever.
It exploded.
Right.
They had a 23-5 run through all of the rotations out the window. Like how we were talking about.
Yeah, how about you call a timeout when it was 15-5?
Why is Cat and Ant on the bench in Game 5? It was like both of them shouldn't have been on the bench together at any point in Game 5 against Dallas.
All right, here we go. But so
coaches kind of stick to their rotation.
Still a 21-point game coming up on 8-10. Jason
Tatum, Green.
See, why is Green in the game? For that same reason. You know what I mean? Like it's not. Like, I don't know. Never mind. Like, put somebody else in. Like, Green isn't effective.
Maybe the effort in practice lacked because they're not getting any player time.
All right, here comes Kyrie. With Horford on him. He's going to shake and bake. Oh, he fell. Back up. Back dribbling. I'm sure there was a foul in there somewhere. Here comes PJ. See, they don't call a foul there, but they gave Luka those BS fouls, and good finish by PJ Washington. So 92-73 coming up on, we're past 7.5 now, so coming up on the 7-minute mark. I guess we might as well see this through.
Yeah,
it's just gonna be a long ass podcast, but hey, y'all wanted us to talk NBA. We talking NBA. Here we go.
NBA, baby.
Yeah, here comes Jason Tatum. With Kyrie on him. And this is the moments that I get pissed off. Take his ass. Yeah, get down there. Why'd you take that shot? Even if you made it, so what? Like,
because you can see the eyes. Everybody's waiting for him to beat Kyrie off the dribble. And he would have.
But that's fine. You open up a shot for somebody else. Here comes Lively. Is that his first point to the game?
Looks like it.
There you go. And Dallas has a lot to go back to look at. Like if I'm Jason Kidd, I'm disgusted right now, but I'm more disgusted with myself. And, like we're seeing the stats right now, 7 assists and 10 turnovers for Dallas. 7 assists in the fourth quarter of an NBA Finals game.
They have 7 assist totals? I didn't see it pop at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, it was on the bottom of the screen. With Luka playing all these minutes, you got 17 assists. You got 17, not 17. And you got 10 turnovers. And there you go. Put Lively on the free throw line.
Put him on those, but he tried to lob it to him because that's all you can get out of him.
So yeah. If I'm Jason Kidd, like I said, I'm frustrated with myself because I feel like I'm a part of why this got out of hand. And especially from the fact that you're a point guard. You're one of the best point guards in NBA history. Some people, probably got you top 10 at worst, but some people probably have you closer to the top 5. This is where, as a point guard, you talk to your guards at halftime. And I'm not even saying that he didn't, but, obviously the product isn't showing that he did. All right, so here comes Derek White now. Jason Tatum. We got 6 minutes left and counting. Jason Tatum with Luka on him. See, this is the moment. Abuse him. Kicks it to Horford with Green on him. Horford going to the basket, into the big man. Drew Holiday in the corner for 3. There you go. So we're back up to 24 again. And this is pretty much the theme of the night. I'm not saying it's time to wave the white towel, but this will be one of those moments where if Luka or Kyrie suffer an untimely injury, to some degree, you got nobody to blame but yourself. So, knock on wood, because we don't want that to happen. But here comes Drew Holiday, Horford, Jaylen Brown in the quarter for 3.
More good things.
And he got fouled. So 3 free throws coming up.
Let's see.
I want to see the replay because I didn't get a good look at it. It happened kind of quick. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, this is going to be the Horford replay to Drew Holiday in the corner. Yeah. So I don't know. Like,
this has been a very quick game because we're at 1:56 and we started at tip off.
Yeah.
So this is
we started a few minutes after tip off. We were already 3 minutes into the game, So yeah.
It was definitely. Yeah, it was a couple minutes tops.
Yeah. So, but that's what happens. Dallas is playing the way that Boston wants them to play. They talk about which team is going to impose their will or put their imprint on the game. Boston came out early.
Jaylen Brown at the free throw line. I didn't know it was that.
I told you it's an adventure. Like, he's close to 60% on, like 65% on the season. Let's see. Let me look that up and fact check myself. Yeah. I think I'm pretty accurate on that though.
I didn't see him as one of those shaky guys.
He's not a good free throw shooter at all. Like, so let's see. For the season,
is that PJ Carlissimo on the staff?
He was just at 70% this season for the whole season.
That's crazy. I think Embiid shoots around like 85 or something like that.
Yeah, Anthony Davis is around 85 or so.
Yeah. I think Kyrie's probably close to 90. But I think Luka's a 70-something% guy. I think LeBron, a lot of
So check it out. For his career in the playoffs, this is Jaylen Brown's free throw stats.
Okay.
66.7, 64, 76.7, 84.1, 76.3, 68.9, and this year 63.
63?
Yeah.
That's your Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
That's your Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
And he's about to win NBA Finals MVP.
Maybe, unless Porzingis come through.
Porzingis is going to be hot, but I think Jaylen Brown's going to get the same. He's going to play the same as, like, the same way he played in the Eastern Conference Finals, when it was like those spurts where you need that aggressive play, the rebound, the shot. I think he made those plays, and that's where Tatum didn't. I mean, I think the shot in game 1, I think people were locked into that.
Right.
And then in game 4, the plays he made down the stretch, coupled with the fact that he was the engine, the highest scoring engine. Drew Holiday's running it too, but Jason Tatum didn't really initiate a lot of the runs. Like, a lot of other people initiate the run, and then he kind of mixes in the middle. He'll get 8 points. Like, he'll knock down a couple step back jumpers, a 3, maybe a couple free throws. So he'll get you like 8 or 9 points in this 22, 24 point barrage.
Right.
Jaylen Brown will be the guy that starts it off with either a defensive play or he'll lock down the other team's defender. He'll get the big rebound. He'll get the block. And then maybe he gets 4 or 5 points of that 24. But it looks like he's doing more on both ends versus Tatum.
Yeah. So, people out there watching, people in the comments, what are you seeing tonight? What are your thoughts from game 1 so far? What adjustments do you make if you're Dallas in game 2? Hit us up. But yeah, I look at it, and obviously you don't expect Kyrie to play this bad again in game 2. He's dribbling it off his foot. He's traveling,
Yeah.
So even outside of just missing shots, he's just not playing well. And I don't want to do the cliche, right? Saying, is he caught up because they're in Boston? I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? But could there be a little bit of nerves involved? Even though Kyrie is the killer and all that kind of stuff, he is human at the end of the day. So has playing in Boston, did he come out ready to prove himself or go nuts or whatever? Did the Boston crowd take him out of it? There's a storyline there.
I don't think so. I
don't think so either, but I'm just asking
too many years, and then he spent 2 years basically being like the...
Hey, LeBron was in the league for what? 9 years when he couldn't handle being the villain?
No, I'm just talking about like since he was already a veteran, and then the 2 years post the vaccine up until pretty much this playoff run, it wasn't a lot of people giving him a lot of faith. He was still getting a lot of grief. So I think he's kind of used to that. He talks about his humility and just kind of being centered in who he is. So I don't think that gets to him. I just think that a team that was 12-2 in this playoff run added a 7'3" unicorn, and they haven't missed a beat.
Look at that, Exum Nahardy. But here we go, Derek White. We're coming up on 4 minutes. 22-point game. Jason Tatum with the crossover, going all the way. There's a foul.
Looks like Dallas is waving the white flag.
Yeah, Davis is waving the white flag, so I guess we might as well wave the white flag too. Kyrie with the towel on his head. You know what I mean? Like, is the Kyrie with the towel on his head, is that going to be the Jokic standing up during game 6?
Yeah. Remember untucked jersey Kyrie?
Yeah.
That was a different Kyrie.
Biting his jersey.
Yeah.
You knew it was on when he got hungry. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Derek White, we're winding this down 4 minutes. Jason Tatum couldn't get it to Horford, out of bounds, Boston's ball. Yeah, I think we're at a good point. We hit the 2-hour mark. Thank you everybody for your support. Thank you for joining us on this journey that we like to call Sports Reports is Ordered.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, share, review, positive or negative. Give us the feedback. We're here for you. This is your show. So, let us know what we can do better. Let us know what you want to see. We love you. Peace out. See you on Monday. Maybe something else will come up in the meantime. My music ain't playing again, or I didn't hit the button. That's why.
Yeah.
There you go. He is your even kill, Mr. Logical. Don't bring feelings to a fact fight. I am your unorthodox 2-5. See you in a few days. Peace and love. We out. Dallas out too. Peace.